In the room, who is an admin for an Atlassian instance? I mean, Jira, Confluence, or whatsoever. And who is somehow responsible of introducing a new tool or a new solution in the company? Okay, so I think that most of you have already went through the same challenge we have, meaning how are you promoting a new software in your company for people to adopt it? How are you ensuring that this new software is integrating in your current ecosystem, the other tools? And in the end, how are you ensuring that your system is reliable, up and running, for your user to use them? So I'm Fred.
And I'm Hugo.
And we are the one at Amadeus that get this mission, actually, to have the stuff working. So it started something like 4 years ago. We had a very big reorganization. So before the reorganization, the R&D teams were mainly split into 4 big business units, where every business unit has its own way of working, own tools, own release process. I mean, just looking at the source control management, you name one of them, we had it. So we got this mission. Guys, you need to standardize all this stuff for, like, everyone. So it was cool, you know, just after a new organization, you have a new role, and so on. But it told us it should be for everyone. And meaning that, depending on the solution, it's 14,000 people or 5,000 developers. And we also get the stuff that this solution tooling should be kind of attractive, sexy. We want users to use them. We want users just adopt it like that. I said, okay. And then they said, oh, by the way, it should be in production, something like in 1 month, 2 months. So we had this choice, as usual, either we are making it or we are buying it. So we were kind of saying, let's do it, let's develop a new stuff and so on. Then they told us again, no, in 2 months. So it was not possible. And we went through the companies that were on the market, just trying to look for something that was attractive, sexy, and that was able to help us in this journey. We knew that we wanted to start by the development culture, the way we are developing, and we wanted also to support our agile transformation at this time. Quick look, we found out Stash at this time, which is now Bitbucket. It was very interesting, and we start digging a little bit more on the Atlassian tooling, and we say, okay, you know what? Let's try to make it work. So we choose Atlassian. And why Atlassian? Okay, it's not only because of the T-shirt and the swags and so on. It was part of the stuff, but we didn't say it openly. But it was more because of the tool, actually. The tools are intuitive to use. The users know how to use Confluence. They know how to use Bitbucket. They are open, which was very important for us. We wanted to have REST APIs, eventually source, the code source, and we wanted to be able to extend the tools. They are integrated. They are attractive. It was a good part of the stuff. You saw it yesterday in the keynote. A lot of focus is put on the user experience, and they were tailored for the users, meaning that Bitbucket is for the developers, and it's really tailored for what they have to do. So we say, okay, let's start with them. And as it was a fun challenge, we decided to not only start with one tool, but with all the tools. So we started with Bitbucket, and Jira, Confluence, and HipChat. And Hugo, any idea how, I mean, you can explain how it went?
Yeah. So basically quite a big challenge, and to get through this challenge, we had to build quite a plan, how to integrate and how to welcome all this new software in our company, in our ecosystem. So we decided, okay, let's go through a simple plan. Not quite complex. Let's first promote the software inside the company. Let's explain to everybody how it works, what is the added value of all of the software. Let's train them and stuff like that. Let's then integrate with our ecosystem. How do you make those software works with your existing software inside your company? And then let's scale according to the adoption of your users. At least this was our plan at the very beginning. And what we want to do today in this presentation is go with you through this journey. And we may find out that at the end it was not really the proper plan to do, and we should have done differently. But let's go through it. And so let's start with the promotion. The first question we should ask is why doing a promotion? Why do we want to promote something in the company? Let me take a simple example about that. Would you buy such a car? If you find such a car in the street, will you buy it? Most probably not. Unless you have a good seller, which is there telling you that this car, even if it's not really nice looking, is really powerful. Yeah. It can run for miles and miles. You have plenty of great options inside, which are not really, that you don't really see it from the picture. And so basically, we believe me, in Amadeus, and most probably in a lot of companies, we do have internal tools that look like this car. Very powerful tools, homemade tools, most of them, but from an attractive point of view, from an intuitive point of view, it's not that good, okay? So because we had such tools, it was natural for us to go through a promotion plan. So what is a promotion plan? Simply showing to your user how the tools work, explain to them the added value it will bring to their daily life, accompany through projects, through pilots, stuff like that, teach them, put in place training sessions for all those new tools, coach the people and coach champions, most probably to train themselves the other users. Well, we worked on that, on a big promotion plan. The truth is, forget about it.
No need.
No need. Forget about a promotion plan. It's useless, really. And at least when you talk about Atlassian tools, it's useless. Let me show you why it's useless and why we shouldn't have spent so much time on this promotion plan. That's the adoption of Confluence on the very first year. It was 2014. And you can see the increase of pages created every quarter. It's tremendous, okay? Did we do something to achieve that? To achieve these figures? Nothing, no promotion plan. The promotion plan was not yet ready anyway.
We were writing it.
We were writing the promotion plan at that time, okay? But, okay, how did it work? Simply one guy, one of our team actually, started to write minutes in Confluence. Okay? And another guy in another team looked at those minutes and said, oh, that's great, that's really easy to write minutes in Confluence, I will do the same. And himself started to show the minutes to other guys in the company. It was a kind of viral adoption. No need for us. We were useless in this case. So if we look back at the title of the presentation, Building Trust for Adoption, at that stage, trust was really high. Okay, because the tools were tailored for users, because the tools were intuitive, people just buy the tools. Okay, it was no need from us to explain and all that stuff. So very quickly, because trust was really high at that stage, we started to have people asking us, okay, your tools are great, but I also have to use other tools, and I would like you to integrate all of that. Okay, so really quickly, we had to move to the integration phase. And once again, promotion plan, we spent a lot on it, useless.
Yeah. So the integration part, as we already said, you know that the Atlassian tools are already integrated between themselves, meaning that when you are in Bitbucket, you can see the status of a Jira ticket or in Confluence. When you are in Jira, you can create a branch in Bitbucket. So they are fairly integrated all together. But what they wanted is to have integration with the other tools, the ecosystem we have. So I'm going to show you something like 4 integration the team did, knowing that a lot of the developers, we have 5,000 developers, a lot of them, they write their own integration, their own tools on top of the Atlassian tools, and some of them we don't even know this tool. So let's go for the first one. During our development process, we have, as many of you, different steps. One of them is what we are calling the static code analysis. We have one tool, we are using SonarQube this day, which is looking at the code and sending you notification about code violation because you are not, I don't know, putting the right indentation level, or you have purely some constructs that are not proper. So Before the integration, the guys, they got the information that, oh, the static code analysis is red. They needed to go to another tool, SonarCube, to see the list of all the violations, to look at which line of code they were happening, and then getting back in the pull request and adding comments and saying, guys, perhaps you should have a look at this, and so on and so on. So a lot of time lost between switching between all the tools. So the team actually just built this integration, and now SonarCube is like a reviewer, actually. The code analysis is sent, and then SonarCube is adding comments on the pull request. So he's adding a general comment saying, guy, you have that many new violations in your code, and also adding comments at each of the lines that have issue, with a link to the proper documentation. So on top of allowing the developer to stay in Bitbucket, it's also helping some of our shy developer to start adding comments, because someone already started the discussion. By the way, this tool is open source. We open sourced it something like 1 year, a little bit more than 1 year now. It's active. We have the next release is pushing something like what we're calling the differential unit test code coverage report, meaning that from one Git commit to another one, you will be able to see how the test coverage has increased. So the first one with Bitbucket was nice. Then Bitbucket is also used in our CI/CD system. Okay, when a pull request is created, actually a build is started, and our CI/CD system is very flexible. We want users to be able to describe their own workflow. You've seen yesterday Bamboo and the code and the configuration as code. It's exactly the same concept. The guys have a file in their repository which is describing the flow they are following. And we knew also that we wanted to have this pull request-centric development and to have all users, I mean the developer, staying in Bitbucket. So exactly as we did for SonarCube, we wanted to have this integration of the step of the workflow. And now, this is what they have. When a build is started, and by the build, I mean the compilation, but all the other stuff around, the unit test, the static code analysis test, and so on, they are able to see the status of each of the steps. And we have nothing to do here. The plugin is just looking at the right file in the repository and displaying the status based on what he sees in the file. So it's easy, fast feedback for the developer, and it's also extensible. Another one we did is ticket synchronization. So Hugo talked about the Rusty car. One of our Rusty tools is an homegrown ticketing system. We developed this something like 15 years ago. It's very effective in the sense that it's managing something like 1 million tickets per quarter, more or less. But it's very ugly as well. The UI is crap, sorry. But it's the only tool that is used by all the Amadeus employees. From the marketing to the operations, it's kind of a repository of everything. But not flexible enough to adapt to our move to the agile way of developing or to our change in our development process. So we wanted to use Jira to do this, and what we did is a smart synchronization between both tools. We knew that we didn't want to have a full mirror of one system in another one, because in the end it would break. What we wanted is to have a kind of smart synchronization where some of the statuses are mirrored, or some of the transitions are mirrored, but not all of them. But, as you can see, we always have a link back to the original ticketing system. So it's added value because the important stuff is still stored in this big central repository, but we have the power to change our workflow, development workflow, and so on. And the last one for today is the outage notification. So again, we have a lot of developers, and we have developed something like 6 years ago, a tool which is like status page, a tool that allows us to broadcast when there is an issue on one of the system. I don't know, Confluence is down, or Confluence is in degraded mode, and then Confluence is back. And the guys told us, okay, it's cool, but it will be cooler if we had this in HipChat. So this is what we did. We built this integration, and now the guys, when you create a chat room, you can add this extension, and you can say, okay, I want to be warned when there is an issue or an event on this and this and this system. And now when you are in the chat room, you get notification that the system is done and that the system is up and running. It's only a couple of them. Last week, some of the guys told us, okay, we have a new idea. What we want to do is building a small Outlook extension to be able to populate the notes, the minutes in Confluence with the name of all the guys that actually attended or not the meeting, and we want to add a link back in the agenda to the minutes. So most probably we are going to do this. I think we will do it in the open, so we'll let you know because I think it's a common need for everyone. So it's perfect. People are adopting. We have an integrated system. We're in a perfect world with perfect tools.
Yeah.
We can go on.
If we go back to the trust is still really high. Tools are welcomed. People have developed their own stuff on top of the tools, so everything is integrated. That's really great. But by doing that, what we just did is we just created a mission-critical system. Okay? Now, the Atlassian suite is at the heart of all of our Amadeus processes, all of our Amadeus development processes or project management processes. And to be honest with you today, this is not really something we foreseen at that time, that we were creating a mission-critical system.
Yeah, when you are storing your Confluence startup procedure in Confluence, but Confluence is down, you have an issue.
Yeah, exactly. So even if the trust was really high at that stage, it started to decrease. Simply because we started to receive messages like that. So the good thing in this screenshot is that HipChat is used by everybody, but the messages in HipChat that we see is not that good. If you do not see the screenshot, basically you have guys saying that Confluence is slow, Jira is slow too, Confluence is maybe dead actually. So yeah, the trust at that stage was starting to decrease, really, on the stability of the tooling. So quickly, we had to scale. We had to scale because the system we put in place was really a kind of server version of all the tools, and we stayed like that for months. But the adoption was so high that a lot of users were going to our instances, and we were not able to scale anymore. So that was our next stage in our process.
Yeah, the scaling part. We are going to take the example of Bitbucket here, but we follow the same path for most of the tool. So we started with Bitbucket. It was a single instance located in Nice, south of France, and all the users were accessing this instance. So we have 5,000 users, developers, a little bit more user depending on who is using it on top of it. The operation guys, they are storing some scripts and so on also in this. So we have all these users targeting a single instance of Bitbucket. It was working, but it was starting to be slow, especially considering that it was Bitbucket. The operations behind, like I don't know, Git diffs or Git operation, were a little bit long. It's normal. It's due to the nature of Git. You need to access to a file system and so on. So they started complaining. And what we said is at the very beginning, talking with Atlassian, say, okay, guys, do you have something for us? And they told us, yes, we are in the process of having a kind of cluster of Bitbucket. Do you want to try it? We said, okay, and we worked actively with them. So we deployed this Bitbucket instance, which allow us to split the load. Before that, we have 5,000 users on a single instance. Today, we have something like 5 to 6 nodes, and we're able to split the load. And the added value also is that if a node is going down for whatever reason, hardware, network, and so on, there's almost no impact on the user. I mean, and we have this kind of issue very frequently, but the users are not seeing the issue because they are redirected to an up and running node. So it was good running, but we started having some complaints from our Boston or Bangalore colleagues saying, okay, it's working fine, it's up and running, that's nice, but you know what? When you are doing a Git clone, it starts being a little bit slow. Can you do something about that? So again, we went to Atlassian and saying, do you have a solution? And yes, at this time, there was just a new solution. It was the smart mirroring. So we deployed the smart mirroring. And as you perhaps heard yesterday during the keynote, the smart mirroring is what it says, is a mirroring of your repository locally that allow your user to have a faster Git pull or Git clone. And so they are a little bit more efficient. That's nice, but we still have an issue. If the instance of Bitbucket is going down for whatever reason, I mean the data center is segregated from the network, or a meteor is falling on the data center, stuff that are happening every day in Nice, we knew that we had an issue because all the other guys would have no more solution for this. So we are in the process of deploying the disaster recovery feature of Bitbucket, and we are going to have a second instance of this cluster of Bitbucket in another location. We are still looking where, but probably near Munich, where we have our operations. That's good, but now we are trying to push some new requirement where we want to go. We are discussing actively with Atlassian because we have a new challenge as well. We would like to have, I mean, if for whatever reason Boston is out of our network, the transatlantic link is cut, they cannot work. They can do some Git pull, but they cannot work on the pull request, they cannot comment and things like that. So what we would love to have, and where we are trying to express our requirement to document it, is to have kind of geo-clustering, meaning having this Bitbucket instance, perhaps 10 nodes, but splitting the nodes around the world in order to have the Boston guys still able to work even if they are aside of the network, and when the network is back, to have a synchronization of the system. So it's not yet existing, and we are actually documenting the need and trying to explain and to find what we would need really. So now it's working perfect. Yeah, we have scaled, we are integrated.
The trust should be high now, high, because we replied to the load basically, and users should be happy with that. And no, the trust was continuing to decrease, and we said, okay, what's wrong here? Let me show you back an HipChat screenshot. Once again, that's great. HipChat is used, perfect, the adoption. But let me focus on this message. That's a true screenshot, right? It's not a fake one. And we have someone which is saying, okay, guys, in case it would have been missed, Bitbucket is currently down. So what's wrong here? Obviously, you will say the thing which is wrong is that Bitbucket is down. Yes, that's not a good thing. We will fix it. But the real issue there is that it's not us that discovered that Bitbucket was down. It was an end user that finally contacted us to tell us that Bitbucket is down maybe since 5 minutes or 10 minutes. And we did not realize that.
It's a user-based notification system.
Yeah, quite effective. But with such a system, your trust is decreasing because your end users do not trust you in your capacity to operate such a mission-critical system in your company. So that's what was missing in our initial plan. Think about operation of your mission-critical system. So we started to promote, use less. We integrated. We were not really useful because people were integrated by themselves. We scaled. Okay, they were happy about that, but we missed completely the operation side of all those new software. So quickly, we moved on the operation, and we started to think about, okay, what do we need? What do we need to operate this system in such a company? The first thing you need is a team. Okay, we all know that. Working with Atlassian, the team concept is really important, and it's true, we need a team that is transversal and accountable for the stability of your full system. Once again, your system is integrated with plenty of other ones, so you need a team that look at the full picture and that can ensure to have the proper reactivity or even proactivity to fix everything. So moving from a setup which was quite like that, several teams around the world, each of them responsible of a piece of your full pipeline, moving to a virtual team where all those people are working together, sharing the same methodologies, sharing the same tools, sharing the same SLAs, sharing the same way to answer to your customers, collaborating, sharing knowledge around all this full pipeline, and be able to react wherever you are, anywhere in the world, each time there is an issue, or to support your users everywhere. This team, actually, it's virtual in another way, that those guys, part of this virtual team, are there in kind of duty for 1 month, and then they are back to their component team, what we call component team in Amadeus, so the team responsible of Bitbucket, for instance. They all are going in a duty for 1 month all together. It allows us to ensure that knowledge is shared between all those guys. So when you are in duty in the maintenance team, in the virtual team, you will be able to react on other tools than the one you are used to work with. So at the end, you will have a lot of people all around the world sharing the same methodologies and having knowledge on all your pipeline, on the full picture of your system.
And once again, they are looking at the whole solution. Before that, each of them was just looking at their own solution. I mean, the Confluence team was looking at Confluence. The Jira team was looking at Jira. But nobody was looking at the whole experience. What happens if Jira is up and running, but Confluence is not? Or are you working for this kind of links and so on? That's why we put this stuff in place, to have guys that are looking at the whole solution.
So once you have a team that is accountable, you need to provide tools to this team to be able to work properly. The tools are there to ensure that they have visibility on your full system, like monitoring and alerting system, to ensure they are reactive, that's the worst case, but also proactive. Be able to spot that something is going wrong very soon, that something will go down, and be able to react quickly. So what did we put in place to give visibility to this team? First thing, and I think almost all of you in this room are using this kind of system, is a kind of infrastructure monitoring system, like Centurion, which is a well-known one, which basically will look at the basic metrics of your infrastructure. How is your CPU? How is your memory consumption? How is your network? How is your disk space? Do you have an issue with that? So very effective, okay? You can have alerts as soon as something is going wrong. But it's not enough. Yeah. We also look at the JVM through JMX, so really going deeper in the JVM on which the Atlassian tools are running to spot any potential issue. Pretty good, pretty great. It allows us to react much more quickly than before, but it's still not enough. You can have a very healthy infrastructure, very healthy, with all those things green, but still having issue with the software itself. Let me take an example. You have a LDAP server that is going down. LDAP server is not part of our scope, right? So on the infrastructure side, regarding Atlassian, everything is green, but your users are not able to connect anymore to Confluence, for instance. You cannot monitor that with an infrastructure system. You have to move to something, what we call the functional monitoring. This is an homemade tool. Nice one, this one, not like the Rusty car, or at least.
Actually, this is one tool we are using for exactly the same kind of test, but for the test system we are delivering to our customer.
So what does this tool? It simply plays scenario on all of our system every minute, basic or complex scenario, but really user scenario. So, for instance, going to the Confluence homepage and see if everything is working fine, if you get the results, or doing a git pull, then a git push, is everything working fine as well? So, with both those tools, we have a view on the infrastructure, but also on the functional aspect of all of our tools.
On the user experience, actually.
Yeah. Once you have visibility, you also need what we call confidence. So, I think we all agree there that the Atlassian release cycle is very fast. Okay, we have releases of Confluence, Bitbucket, Jira, and HipChat really quickly, and a lot of them actually. Yeah. I will not say, I don't know, maybe every month. Yeah. Every month you have a new release that could be interesting for your users. That's good. Yeah. Now, if you have to follow this release cycle, it's another story on your side. If you want to deploy this new version every month, it starts to be tough. But this is what your users are asking for. All right. Atlassian is really, is doing it communicates a lot, doing blog posts, doing announcement every day, a lot of tweets, a lot of things like that. So be ready that your users are following Atlassian just like you. So they know, maybe even before you, that a new release is coming. So what they will just do, quite naturally, they will ask you to deploy as soon as possible this brand new version. If you want to follow this release cycle, you need to put in place automated procedures to ensure that you can install a new version very quickly. You need also to put in place performance test campaign. We talk a lot about performance tests during this summit with Atlassian. Performance tests are there to ensure that in your ecosystem, the new release of Bitbucket or of Confluence will properly work. We can be sure that Atlassian is doing performance tests on their side, but in your ecosystem, it's another story. All right?
You do not have the same network topology, you do not have the same components on the system, so you need to test it also on your side.
Yeah. You need to put in place different environments, like user acceptance testing environment, so that people can test their own plugin in this new environment with this new version of Bitbucket. You need to put in place potentially canary testing to ensure that you can start moving the load from the older version to the new one and then fall back very quickly if something is going wrong. But you need also maybe to monitor the performance of your system once you are in production. Just an example on that. This is a tool we deployed on all of our nodes of all of our data centers products, which is called Dynatrace, and which monitors in real time the performance, different KPIs of performance of your instance. That's really helpful because you can then compare results between version n-1 and version n and see if everything is still working fine and if you are still below the threshold that you monitor regarding performances. So very, very effective tool. So that's great. You have a team. They have the tools to work properly. They automated a lot of things to be very quick on the release cycle. But then you need also control. So let's be clear, we are not there yet in Amadeus. We are currently actively working on this control aspect. And let me explain what we mean by control. The good thing with Atlassian is that you have the plugins marketplace with plenty of plugins. Everybody can develop even its own plugin and install it on your instance. You have open APIs. That's really great. Everybody can use the API of Bitbucket and do the fancy script he always loved to do. If I will be the only one to decide, let me be honest with you, I would shut down the API.
Hopefully I'm there.
So hopefully Fred is there to tell me that I can't do that, but I will do it, really honestly. I would also forget about all the plugins. Okay, Confluence is great without plugins, so you just use Confluence without plugins. I can't do that either. Why would I do that? Because each time you open a bit too much your system, you put your system in danger in a way if you do not control properly. How can you be sure that the guy that is using the REST API of Bitbucket, for instance, will use it properly and will not hammer your system with improper calls?
True story, we had one user that was actually bringing Confluence down just by opening Internet Explorer.
Because
for whatever reason, Internet Explorer was starting hammering, asking to Confluence every 5 milliseconds, I want the page, I want the page, I want the page. And then the first node just was overloaded, and then it was redirected to another one, and pieces by pieces, we had issues.
And so what we would like to do is, for instance, to have an API's gateway, just like you see everywhere in the web. If you want to use an API, you just register yourself, you have a token, and then we can know who you are, and we can maybe potentially control the usage of the usage you do of your APIs, and maybe ban your usage if you misbehave. It's just like in a nightclub. All right? If you own a nightclub, you want your people to come in your nightclub. Okay, it's your business, so you want them to come. But you don't want them to misbehave once they are inside, all right? So you will put them outside as soon as they will misbehave. Exactly the same principle here. You want people to build on top of Atlassian because it will create added value. It will create, it will help efficiency of your different processes. But as responsible of the full pipeline, you have also to ensure that it's up and running 100% of the time for all, right? Yeah. Another example is for plugins governance. We are currently putting in place a governance board to review all the plugins requests we get from our users and say, okay, is this one really really helpful for all? Is it data center compatible? Do we have some kind of performance test on this plugin? Are we sure that it will be compatible with another plugin that we installed as well? You need to put that in place. It's absolutely critical. or you simply shut down the plugins and the API. But once again, Fred doesn't want me to do that.
No.
So, Fred,
So
what was the effort?
As you've seen, we invested quite a lot in this stuff, meaning developing new tools, developing monitoring, developing integration test or functional test, and so on. So is it really worth the effort? Meaning, is it better to have this or a user-based notification system? Actually, we are thinking that it's first good for the end user, but also for us. Let me take just 2 examples. We started with this functional monitoring, and we are looking at the Confluence stuff. Looking just as a simple scenario, which is reading the home page. And we saw these spikes, okay? It seems to be too long to get the page, and it was not really stable. You cannot feel it when you were getting the page, but it was not nice. So the team looked at the stuff, and they discovered that we had a bad configuration in the LDAP stuff. They fixed it, and boom, we were able to see that actually the fix worked. So it was not only helping the end user, it was also helping us to check that what we did really had an impact. We did the same for, on another side. All the logs from the data center are pushed in Elasticsearch cluster because it's simpler for us to look at all the stuff. And we just did a search looking at the 404 errors on Bitbucket, and something was wrong. We had something like 10,404 per 10 minutes spikes. So once again, the team reviewed the whole stuff, find that one of our own plugin was totally misbehaving. They fixed the plugin, and boom, we are able to look at the result and to say, okay, it's really fixed. So all this monitoring is not only good for the trust of your user or to be more reactive, it's also helping you to check that what you are doing has really an impact on the system.
Right, so time for wrap-up. Let me look back at the first slide. This was our plan, remember? Promotion, integration, and scale. Through this journey, we discovered a lot of things. We learned also a lot of things. And if we had to give you an advice, or if we had to do it again, we would rather do something like that. First, as I said, you forget about promotion. It's a fact. And instead of promotion, trust your users. Trust your users and your providers. They are doing great tools, and your users will love the tools and won't need you to make them use the tools. So forget the promotion and trust. And very soon in your process, think about operation. Think about operation all along the path of all along your journey until reaching a fully high available system. Then scale first. Don't underestimate the adoption of the tools. It will be much more quicker than you think. So scale first, ensure that you will be able to sustain the load that will come very quickly, and only then start thinking about integration. You have a highly scalable system, you have all the operational procedures that you need, so you can start integrate with your ecosystems because you are sure that you will be able to cope with it. To sum up, your guys won't trust you because you are able to choose the proper software or because you are able to promote it. They expect that from you, all right? That's your job. So they won't trust you for that. They won't trust you regarding the integration simply because the tools are open and they can do that by themselves. Okay, all the APIs are open, so why would they need you? Why would they trust you for the integration? They will do it by themselves. They will trust you, however, in your capacity to scale and to operate such a mission-critical system. And this is where your users will look at you very carefully and will be very tough with you on these aspects. So, to sum up on that, in the meantime at Amadeus, this presentation was about 40 minutes. Yes, 1 minute left. Thank you, Maggie. 40 minutes long. This is what happened in Amadeus during these 40 minutes. More than 500 HipChat messages have been exchanged. More than 70 Confluence pages have been created, new pages. More than 40 pull requests have been created. If you are not prepared to operate such an activity and to scale to sustain such an activity, your trust will decrease. Yeah. So thank you very much for your attention.
Thanks a lot.